Welcome to Buckle Up Podcast Universe with Brandon Rush.
Join pre-show real quick. I don't know if I just stopped the recording. Recording might actually still be going, and I think it most likely is. Welcome back to the Buckle Up Podcast Universe with Brandon Rush and Mama Rush. So we're doing a little quick test, but tonight we're going to have on civil rights photographer Cecil Williams, which I don't have my paper anymore, which I'll get to that in just a second, but I'm actor Brandon Rush, and my mom, Carolyn Rush, is a pharmaceutical sales specialist, retired. I am actor Brandon Rush that has been in 80 TV shows and movies, and I launched the Buckle Up Podcast Universe with my mom on April 9th of 2025. We've done 141 episodes. We have 18.8 million viewers and listeners around the world. We're in 78 countries, and we are in 908 cities. We're excited. What makes our show special is we have people from all around the world. Like, for instance, we have this civil rights photographer coming on here today to capture that movement and what all was done to help this world become a better place in the United States, even. We have doctors, lawyers, teachers, actors, actresses, producers, directors, veterans, military, and nurses and doctors. I might have said that twice. But I'm going to go ahead, and I did have a pre-message that I want to say for him, but I have to make sure to get Mr. Williams on here because he is waiting. So I'll have to go with that bio in a little bit. Resume recording. I'm going to do a quick introduction of Mr. Williams. Ladies and gentlemen, buckle up because tonight we have a legend in the building. This man has picked up a camera at just 9 years old and went on to document some of the most powerful moments in South Carolina and American history. Before influencers existed, before hashtags, before content creators were even a thing, he was capturing truth, courage, and the heartbeat of the movement. From Orangeburg to the national stage, his images shaped the way the world sees civil rights era. He's an artist, a trailblazer, a museum founder, and a living blueprint for every young creative dreaming big today. South Carolina, stand up. We're honored to welcome the iconic Cecil J. Williams. That being said, okay, I believe admit.
Move over a little bit.
Let's admit all. Make sure that I have him admitted here.
Okay.
Mr. Williams. I believe he's muted, but he should be.
Hello there.
How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing just fine.
I'd like to thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to come on to our show today, the Buckle Up Podcast Universe with Brandon Rush and
Mama Rush.
Were you able to hear us, Mr. Williams?
It's an echo. So
Yes, a little echo. I hear it.
I think you're logged in on two different screens.
yeah, hold on a minute.
Okay.
Okay, how about now?
Yes, sir. Sounds good. You're looking sharp, sir.
Okay, it's coming through good here. Well, good evening to you.
Yes, sir. Good evening to you as well. I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day to come on to our podcast. A little bit about us. I've been an actor in 80 TV shows and movies. My mom's a retired pharmaceutical sales rep, but we have a show. Yes, sir. We have a show we started April 9th, which we have 18.8 million viewers and listeners in 78 countries and 908 cities around the world. So I first came to attention of you, sir, because I was going through social media and I saw this photo of this man drinking at a water fountain that said whites only. And I thought that was the coolest photo I had seen. And I saw that years ago. And then I was talking to my cousin, Vivian Glover, and she's like, well, I'm friends with Cecil.
Yes.
So I'm like, do you think it's possible that we could get him on our podcast? And she said, I'll reach out to him and see what he says. And so we thank you for being here today, sir.
Well, it's good to be here this evening. I just finished a meeting with the Alphas. The Alphas came to the museum, and of course, we didn't get out till 7:30. But then when I tried to log on, I could not get on. So I'm glad you were able to send me a new link.
Oh, yes, sir. No problem at all. I wasn't sure at first. I was like, I didn't know. I understand you being busy, so I'm glad that you stuck with us and we were able to get you on. Sir, you were a part of history here. My mom is using her photo today, but
Yeah.
you'll be able to speak to both of us.
Yes.
But you're an amazing part of history, sir. And then I understand that you picked up a camera at the young age of 9.
Yes, my brother gave me the camera in the family household. He grew to liking music, and
Yes, sir.
we had a camera that cost $2.25,
Mm.
baby Brownie. So to me, that was like a little magic box that I
Yes, sir.
began immediately to just becoming, in love with it. I kept it by my bedside. My mother gave me money to buy film with,
Yes, sir.
and so it was my constant companion. Of course,
Okay.
I went all around the house, and I was a nuisance around the house, taking pictures of them where they didn't have their hair done and weren't dressed and that kind of thing. But it was, again, it was like a magic box to me.
Yes, sir.
Oh, yes.
Sounds a lot like myself, sir. I was always taking videos of my family on my phone, whether they liked it or not. So I understand where you're coming from.
Yes. And good evening to you, ma'am.
Well, I tell you, I wanted to say I'm so happy to have you here on the Buckle Up Podcast universe. And I want to tell you, they refer to me as Mama Rush, but Carolyn is just fine. So you can just
Okay.
refer to me as Carolyn on the show. And we want to make sure that the Southern way, because I'm from South Carolina originally, but
Okay.
I was recruited to work for a company in Delaware, DuPont. So I left here and I was gone from this state for over 40 years. But with that said, we are just so excited today. But I remember meeting you. You probably don't remember me. I was a freshman at South Carolina State University now. State
Okay.
University. Yes. And I said,
Okay.
who is this
Okay.
very handsome man walking around this campus with a
Yeah.
camera in his hand all the time?
Well, I thank you so very much. Yes, I was the yearbook photographer for South Carolina State and Claflin University.
Oh,
Even
yes.
when I was a junior in high school, I was the
Yes.
photographer for them. Yes.
Oh, wow. Well,
See, it was
well,
during an era when there weren't many cameras, so I didn't
sure.
have to be very good to be the official photographer.
Okay.
You're
Did you say
fabulous.
you were in the
Excuse me?
Repeat one more time,
Did you
sir.
say you were? Did you say you were in the Buffalo, New York area, or what area are you
Oh,
in?
we're both in South Carolina right now.
We're in South
Oh, you are.
Carolina
Oh, okay.
right now.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I
But
thought I heard the word Buffalo because last week, 2 weeks ago, I was up in Ithaca, New York.
Oh, wow.
8 degrees in that
oh,
snow, and I thought I heard you say Buffalo because I wasn't very far from Buffalo.
Yes, sir. No, it wasn't. I'll be back up in New York in April, but not Buffalo. I'll be back in the city.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Mr. Williams, I don't know if you want us to say Mr.
You can
Cecil, that
just
Southern way.
Cecil's
Cecil
good.
is
That's
fine.
great.
All righty. All right. When did you realize photographer was more than a hobby, that it was your calling?
Well, at about 12 years old, I found out that I could earn more money by taking pictures for people
Oh,
rather than just doing it for myself. In fact, I earned $35 doing a wedding. And
Wow.
from that kind of, caught my interest that this was my hustle. This is my way. Some kids my age, they would deliver newspapers or car hop or, working in a store or something. Well, my thing was photography. I took pictures and earned a living from photography. I was able to buy gas when I became 18 for my car and to buy candy bars. And, it was a great kind of thing being slightly independent, but not really because I still lived at home.
Yes,
yeah.
sir.
And
And then,
yeah, go ahead, Brandon.
and then, Mr. Williams, I saw that you freelanced for Jet Magazine at the age of 14 as well. What was that?
I
And what did that
freelanced for
experience?
Jet at 14 years old, as I
Yes, sir.
did for the Afro American and the Pittsburgh Courier. But because of that connection with Jet, at 18, I got on the payroll, $200 a month from Jet Magazine. And it wasn't that I was such a dynamite photographer, but it was like I was the only photographer in South Carolina with, a little bit better than average cameras that I could take good pictures. And
Yes, sir.
also because there were so many things happening in South Carolina that Jet needed continuing coverage. So I
Oh,
Yes, sir.
became a correspondent at 18 years old, one of the most exciting periods of my life. And I stayed a correspondent for them until I was, 10 years. I worked for Jet Magazine.
oh,
Oh,
wow.
wow. That's a prolific career, sir, at
It
such a
really
Yes.
is.
early age.
In my entire career with Jet, I only made one front cover. In
Really?
1969, I took a picture of Coretta Scott King, and she was involved in a hospital workers' strike in Charleston, South Carolina.
Okay.
And my picture made the front cover of Jet. All the other photographers, that was what all of them aimed to do, to get the
Yes,
front
sir.
cover, because in addition to your salary, you also got a bonus when you made the front cover.
Okay.
Yep.
Wow.
And then what was that moment like for you too, to finally get that, I guess that recognition of being on the front cover? What can you recall that feeling like for
Well,
you?
besides the extra bucks that it paid, again, it was
Yes, sir.
something that I carried around in my pocket with me, and so
Yes, sir.
I put it on the wall in my room, and so
Okay.
it's something I bragged about, and it was really great to have made the front cover with Mrs. King wearing one of the Union hats. You
Yes,
see, there
sir.
was an event in Charleston, South Carolina, where African American workers were not being paid the same wages as white workers. And I
Yes, sir.
covered that for Jet. It was a strike and a demonstration that lasted about a year. But
Okay.
finally, they won over, and again, the state agreed to pay them what they deserved, the same wages as they paid white workers.
Yes, sir.
My. Well, with that, what truth about South Carolina's civil rights story do you wish more people knew?
Yes, in fact, so much so that in 2019, my sister, my
Yes.
wife, and I, we started what has become the first and only civil rights museum in the state of South Carolina. In fact, I'm
Oh,
speaking from that office now. We started in 2019, a small museum, 3,500 square feet. But that small investment that we made back in 2019 has transformed into about a $45 million museum in downtown Orangeburg. So we
Oh,
are
wow.
eagerly awaiting moving into that new facility from the small facility from which we're in now.
Congratulations, sir.
oh, congratulations. I tell you, that is exciting. I can't wait to go back to Orangeburg just to visit the museum where it is. Where is it located in Orangeburg?
Well, our present museum is in a residential area out near the outskirts of Orangeburg. But of course, we will be moving right across the street from South Carolina State University,
Oh, that's
right?
going to
The
be.
railroad corner. The
Yes, sir.
railroad corner, the corner you used to go out your front gate and go downtown past you go over the railroad track and then
Yes.
downtown.
Wow.
Okay.
I know exactly what you're where you're speaking because I would leave South Carolina State and walk across that track to go to the stores back there that ran along that back road. So I know exactly the place you're talking about, and that's going to be so exciting across from South Carolina State as well as Claflin University. Both of those universities. That is going to be what an
I
education
am
for
a
the students.
graduate of Claflin University, but of course I worked for State and Claflin most of my
Yes, sir.
entire career. It was
Oh,
Really?
again something that I really relished, and it was a level of opportunity that a lot of youngsters don't have.
yes.
To be on the payroll of both universities as their yearbook photographer. But it
Oh,
Okay.
afforded me so many opportunities to photograph some of the most important VIPs that came through our society during that time.
Oh, wow.
Incidentally, the museum location we are going to, and during the 60s, I had a photography studio in the exact same place we're moving the new museum.
oh, okay. Okay.
That's amazing. Mom, I have a question to ask Mr. Cecil.
Okay.
That's okay. Mr. Cecil, I'm going to explain it to the audience as well. That famous photo, which is famous to us anyway, that I saw of you by the water fountain during the civil rights era, where it says whites only. Could you take us back to that moment? Because I feel like that must have been kind of pretty dangerous to do that at that time, and what you were thinking when you took the photo, or how it came about.
That was very early in my career. I was about 16, 17, 18. The exact age, I don't know because I didn't write any information down. But my
Yes, sir.
friend Rendell Harper, who accompanied me, he loved photography, but he was not a photographer. We went to the coast of South Carolina, coming back towards Orangeburg, near Walterboro, South Carolina, between Walterboro and Roseville. I got thirsty, and as I have done many times, you see, a lot of places did not have water fountains that that blacks could drink out of.
Yes, sir.
Sometimes there was a spigot or something like that. So I
Mm.
stopped by that store. There was a person working in the bay fixing a car and somebody pumping gas. But in less than 60 seconds, I got out of the car, drank from the water, got back in, and while, of course, Rendell took my picture. And then when I had finished, Rendell went to the water fountain, and I got a picture of him drinking at the fountain. It was something, a chance that we took all the time. And so I thought nothing of it. And in
Yes,
fact, the
sir.
picture did not surface until my book came out in 2006. And I
Okay.
put a picture that I had done that picture in that book. You see, in the very early beginning, when I did it, I was afraid that my mother would have chewed me out, which she did when she found out about the picture.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, but she wanted to make sure you're protected and what happened, and
They
she what the
they were
repercussions.
looking out for me.
That's
They were trying
correct.
to protect me because they knew that they had grown up in an era of accommodation. And
Yes,
now
That's
sir.
here comes along a generation of younger students like I was that began to defy and work against and try to destroy segregation and racism.
Yes,
mm-hmm.
sir.
Yeah.
Well, that's a powerful picture, sir. I mean, I remember when I think I saw it maybe it might have been a year or two, and I actually posted it on my social media story. That's where I first saw it because it was circulating during the Black History Month, and everybody was showing this photo, and I loved it. I think I even put some music to it. Like I put some good music to it at the time. I think it might have been Shaft or something, but it was pretty good.
Well, I am very proud to be, for that picture to really be iconic in today's world.
Yes, sir.
It resurged interest all over the country recently because a gentleman who owns a company called Actively Black, which makes T-shirts and hoodies and that kind of thing,
Yes, sir.
came to my museum about 6 months ago, and he wanted to license that picture to be one on one of the T-shirts and
Mhm.
wearing apparel. And when he
Okay.
did that, the first edition sold out in about 2 months. And
Holy
then
smokes.
in November, he invited me to go to New York to be walk on Broadway with a show he was putting on there, which, by the
Yes,
way,
sir.
cost about $1 million. And of course, my wife and I were very happy to do that. And
Yes,
so
sir.
after the Broadway walk on the runway, which was very exciting, I was in the company of people like the King family, the Ruby Bridges, the young lady who was depicted in the picture walking with the marshals to school,
Oh,
and
Oh,
wow.
of the Black Party, and the gentlemen who raised their hands during the Olympics and that kind
Olympics.
of thing. That kind of company. So it was very, very overwhelming to be
Yes,
thrilled
sir.
that I was being in the company of such great heroes, who
mm,
I really consider the heroes of America. And so after that, when about 55 million people, took that picture in on the social media, um, it really became an explosion. And
Yes, sir.
all over the world, we got all kinds of messages and telephone calls. And of course, he sold out again. Now, a new edition that he just did 2 weeks ago, where he puts behind it the words to the music. I think it's Never Afraid or something like that.
Yes,
That
sir.
edition has also sold out. So,
Okay.
so it's really, and then the advantage to us and the reason we are cooperating is because they sent us a 10% commission
Holy
out of the
smokes.
sales they make. So
oh,
Wow.
this is
that's a
beautiful.
very
Very much
good
deserving.
company to be a part of. And that
I
helps
would
us.
say so.
Our museum is a nonprofit museum, and
Okay.
we also don't charge admission to come in. So we live entirely on donations and that kind of support, and don't have, again, a continuing source of income. So every bit like that really helped, and we are fully cooperating with Actively Black is the name of the company.
Okay. And one more question for you, because I want to make sure that people hear this and if they want to send in money. What is the either the name of the museum, or B, where they can donate to?
You can go to our museum website, which is South Carolina Civil Rights Museum.com, or you can do a PayPal, or you can do a Cash App. The Cash App would be to our email, which is WILL2429 at bellsouth.net. But if you just gave us a call, look us up, give us a call at 803-347-8001. We'd be happy to take your donation over the phone. We are in so much of need of support. We're a 501c3 nonprofit, and we have a very small staff. And as we embark upon going into a brand new museum, of course, we have also many challenges ahead of us. because the city and the county, and under Congressman Jim Clyburn, which has helped us to build the building, it's going to be just an empty building. We'll have to go in and do the exhibits and set the museum up. So we may enter sometimes next month, but it's going to be about 6 to 9 months before it is fully operating.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Well,
thank you for that information.
I'm so glad to hear that about this. I'm so excited to hear about the expansion. But what do you hope visitors feel when they walk through your museum, the one you have right now?
Well, it's for young and old, for the elderly, it's for senior citizens, it's for people who engaged in the civil rights movement, it's for middle-aged folks, it's for everyone. It's for Black, white, Native American, Jewish people, white people. It's for everyone. There will be something there of interest to everyone. One of the things we're trying to do, of course, is museums have an innate ability to be able to help to bridge the gap with youngsters. For example, museums, in the way that they exhibit and tell stories, help to build values in young minds, values that are needed for respect, values that they need to respect their elders, their teachers, the people that are trying to guide them, because it is sort of like an automatic balance against the other things that are influencing and impacting them. Social media, movies that highlight violence and makes them, say, attracted to like violence and use of weapons. It's got to be a counter to that, or something that balances that. Otherwise, again, what is it to keep them from, again, being attracted by so many other negative elements? Museums help, and it's only one of the things that can help them, though. There are many, many more things that our youth need to go forward. So there's something in the museum for everyone.
Oh, this is wonderful.
Perfect. Mr. Cecil, sorry, Mom, were you about to say something?
No, you go right ahead, Brad.
Mr. Cecil, I had a question to ask you. What was one of the most defining civil rights moments your camera ever captured, do you think? And if it's more than one, that's okay. But is there one that you think that might have stuck out to you, or something that resonates with you?
Well, what stands out is my association with Senator John F. Kennedy, who went on to become the president of the United States. In 1960, when I was a senior at Claflin University, I happened to go to New York to visit my aunt and uncle, and but I didn't have my press pass with me, and I went down to the Roosevelt Hotel where he was to make an announcement. And just as I got into the hotel, he was about to come up to speak. The hotel security noticed that I was the only person of color, and they began to throw me out of the ballroom. And so John F. Kennedy, Senator Kennedy, and his wife Jacqueline were coming up to the podium, and he saw this and he stopped them. And again, we had a conversation right there in front of the press. And from that developed a friendship which lasted about 13 or 14 months. And I even campaigned for him to become the president of the United States. But I never got to, you might say, hang out with President John F. Kennedy, but Senator John F. Kennedy.
Yes, sir. Wow, that's amazing, and a point of history right there. I know John F. Kennedy was loved by so many, and so that's amazing amazing what he did. Those behind the scenes stories of, you didn't know that it wasn't just what he did in front of the cameras. He saw a moment of a young Black man that was trying to just do his job, or be there to support him, or be there to just be a photographer, and saw them, what appears to me as probably discriminating against you, trying to get you out of there. And he said, no, stop that. Let that young man be and let him do what he's there to do. And then from there sprung a friendship based out of him just having that human decency in him. And it's good to hear that.
There were a lot of questions about the time that, again, the picture was, again, taken of me drinking out of the fountain for. But people of my era, people that grew up in that time, I think that many people did the same thing that I did. In fact, I did that more than once. Because, again, the symbols of segregation that said white only, or black, or colored only, or colored water fountains, that sometimes, again, when nobody was looking, just ordinary people did it every day. So it was nothing extraordinary. And that's why the picture did not, you might say, resurface until 2005. And when it did, it just, caught on like wildfire. But it's, again, I'm so very humbled by the attention that is gotten, and hopefully that it will continue to be an encouragement for today's generation to get involved, to not let the administration and somebody with orange hair, again, intimidate us or threaten us, or for that matter, think that democracy is not still alive and well. Um,
Yeah.
this administration is not going to take down our democracy. And in fact, if I had a chance to say anything to them, I would tell them that no, we ain't going back. It ain't going to happen. We're not going to have to relive the civil rights movement years. Democracy and freedom and justice and equality is here to stay.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir. Yes.
Amen. I hear you on that, sir.
I appreciate that. And I want to ask you, with that said, and I want to go back to historic Black colleges and universities. And I want to ask you, what unforgettable HBCU moment stays with you all these years later? And I'm thinking about being at South Carolina State University and Claflin University.
It was probably that event of the Orangeburg massacre, which occurred in 1968 on the campus
Yeah.
of South Carolina State, that
Yes.
stays with me the most. And we have that exhibit in our museum. At that time, in 1969, there was a bowling lanes open in Orangeburg, but it would not admit people of color. And the students were trying to gain entrance to them because if you wanted to bowl, the only place you could bowl was 50 miles away to Columbia, 100 miles round trip, or 150 miles round trip to Charleston, South Carolina. So students engaged demonstrations and so forth. But in the aftermath, on February the 8th, 1968, highway patrolmen came on the State College campus, began firing at the students, killed 3 and injured 28. I left the scene 1 hour before it happened, so it's very, again, um, personal to me as well.
Yes, sir. Wow.
Mm.
You
My
saying something?
my sister was a freshman that year at South Carolina State University. And I remember my daddy heard about what was going on. He drove from Columbia with my uncle and they picked my sister up. They let him in to go pick up his daughter. He said, "No, I'm coming to get my daughter." And I don't know, my daddy with his he would not back down because he was in the army at one point. And he said, "No, you have to let me through to pick up my daughter." And he picked her up and brought her home. And I think she didn't go back to school that semester, but that was a changing time. I was in middle school, I believe, at the time. And so that was really something that happened, and it still resonates very, very much so with me and with my family. And I'm so glad you told our audience exactly what happened that day. But I would like to ask you something. How would you describe the cultural heartbeat? And I think about the heartbeat of Orangeburg during that era. So can you kind of give us that?
I have always believed that there are more good people than there are bad people. And I
Amen.
mean, black and white in any race.
Yes,
I've
sir.
always believed that, again, you have only a small segment of people who were racist, but there were
Yes.
white people in the city of Orangeburg that treated my family and I on an equal basis and with kindness and with dignity and respect.
Yes.
But it seems like most of the hatred came from our political people and a small segment of our population. Even
Mhm.
on the night of February the 8th, when nine highway patrolmen fired into a crowd of 125 and killed the 3 students and injured 28. Actually, there were 30 highway patrolmen who were asked to load their weapons, but only 9 obeyed, and 21 did not obey to load their weapons. So,
Oh,
again, I reiterate that there have always been more good people than bad people, and that was the tone now. That's the tone then, and it was the tone of things even going way back. I believe that ever since, you might say, mankind adapted civility,
yes,
that
sir.
there have always been more good people than bad people.
I believe that. I truly believe that. And I wanted to say, what has photography, or ask, what has photography taught you about humanity over 7 decades? And you mentioned part of it just now.
That's a good question. I believe that I have discovered that an image can really be a very, very powerful element. It's a storytelling element. Yes, it answers the who, why, what, where, when, but also the impact of photography and the impact of an image, it can be 8 times more effective than the written language. So, throughout our lifetimes and throughout even history,
Yes, sir.
images have been very important to our understanding of past history. For example, 250 years ago, a painting of George Washington crossing the Delaware is accepted as documented history just as much as the written history is. So
Mhm.
even today, just look at what again happens today with today's
Yeah.
cell phones and this kind of technology. So I'm glad that I have been always on the cutting edge of photography, and it's been my profession for a lifetime.
Oh, wow.
Absolutely. Mr. Cecil, how did you develop your distinctive photographic style?
Well, that's sort of self-taught, and I like to draw, and so a part of my, you might say, creative energies lend itself to really wanting to, again, create something, something that you could see or feel, that kind of thing. And that went over into my photography because in each image that I take, I try to frame it so that everything in that image must help to tell what the story or what I'm trying to do. If it's anything that's not related to it, I try to cut it out. If there's a
Yes, sir.
tree in the background and it's not going to help my story, I try to use a wide opening to throw the tree out of focus.
Yes,
I
sir.
try to exclude it by framing it. So that's part of my photography style that I developed. And it has been one that enables me to tell stories more effectively by just focusing in. So when you immediately look at the picture, you know what I'm trying to say, or you know what the story tells.
Yes, sir. Mr. Cecil, you'd have made a great director, sir. That's I'm thinking about because I'm an actor. I'm thinking about the establishing shot you just said there to everybody, how you focus the story and all. Like you would have made a great, excellent director for film and TV. Just thinking about the way you broke that down.
And when you tweak that, when you come up with, you might say, angle,
Yes, sir.
composition, exposure, aperture, and whether you're going to, do wide angle on an establishment shot or a close up or the perspective, again, is also important.
Yes, sir.
Uh, Sometimes if you want to make something tall and towering, you get down at a low angle and shoot upward. And
Yes, sir.
consequently, the opposite of that, when you want to diminish something, to shoot at a high angle, looking down. So again, this is some of the basic elements that I learned, not only from my career in photography, but my degree is in art from Clarkson University. So
Oh,
these
really?
two, again, disciplines help me to become a photographer that understands the power and impact of using images as one of the main criteria of what I'm trying to do in telling stories and in taking pictures of people.
Yes, sir. It's amazing that you said that. That you said that where your degree was in. Is if I heard it correct, you say art. It was in art direction or art.
Yes,
It's
art from
what
Clapham
is.
University.
Yes, sir. It's interesting you say that because my degree is in broadcast journalism and mass communication from University of South Carolina, which I take into my
Okay.
TV television acting all the time. Like everything that I learned in school, I use in my actual acting career. So I would think it was interesting that both of our degrees work towards our profession that we ended up ultimately going into. So I just had to relate that there for a second. And then just to make one light, quick question to ask you. What is your hair routine, sir? Because it was looking sharp in that photo, and it's still looking sharp today.
What is my what?
Your hair
Hair.
routine,
I,
your hair looks is you're just as smooth
um,
as you were back then.
well, all of my life, I really, well, from about 10 years old, I always wore my hair crew cut. And because, you get out of bed late in the morning, have to rush to school and, having to. So, but when COVID came around, I started to just let my hair grow. In fact, I haven't been to a barber now in 3 years.
Oh wow!
And so I just let it grow out and I, don't, that's just it. I just let it grow out, and wherever it goes. But occasionally, what I'll do is I'll take a pair of scissors and go and cut
Oh
here to kind
wow!
of trim it up a
Beautiful.
little. But
Yeah.
but again, I don't do anything. Just wash it, and so thank you very much for the compliment.
Absolutely, absolutely. What inspires you to build a museum with your own hands and personal archives?
Well, South Carolina, being a southern state, and unlike all the other states, did not have a civil rights museum to tell the stories. And I think that we in South Carolina have established the fact that it was here that the civil rights movement begun with many of our activities. Most people in the history books say that it begun with Martin Luther King and Rosa Parks. Actually, the civil rights movement has its beginning here. So after about a decade of trying to find some museum to put my artifacts and collections and images in,
Mhm.
my wife, my sister, and I, we just got together, pooled some money, and said we would do it ourselves. So we did it right from a house that my wife and I formerly lived in, and then we built a new house next door. So this
Okay.
house was, which has become our museum, was just my photography studio. And so we
Yes,
just
sir.
decided to do it, and it's been a fantastic journey. But just like most things in life, it's not just us doing this. I feel that I'm on a divine mission. I feel that
Yes, sir.
God has played a very important role. And I thank Him so much for the strength and the fact that I have the energies at 88 years old to be able to do
Mhm.
many of these things that I do. And that I
Yes, sir.
have the health and the drive and ambition and a mind to be able to conceive what must be done to make a storytelling museum and to bring that into fruition. So you
Yes, sir.
can say I as much as you want, but there must be other things that are guiding your journey. And I definitely believe that mine is a divine journey.
Oh,
Amen.
it really is.
Amen.
And with that message, I want you to please share with the young Black photographers and what you'd like for them to carry forward.
Well, young Black photographers, it's very sad that I must tell you that if you plan to be a photographer, that it's an overcrowded profession. So I would encourage you to think about, if you just like photography, to think about some of the aspect that's not as crowded as, say, just being a photographer. Uh, you have to be, I think, creative in what that is. For example, since my field is seemingly overcrowded here in Orangeburg, South Carolina, where I now live and where I've now started a museum, and my career has gone from photography to being a museum curator. What I
Mm,
have done is I've found that what I do today in photography is I restore old pictures. For example, if a picture is torn in half, I can make the rest of it. If someone has an eye closed, I can open that eye. If someone is deceased and that person only has had a picture of them and they didn't have on maybe a shirt and tie or a coat, as in a man's picture, I can put a coat on them and a shirt and a tie. And so I do this restoration of images today, and all that is still photography, but it's not just taking pictures, because that I believe is a very crowded profession.
Yes, sir.
yeah. And
Thank you very
so the
much.
technology they now have has really, it really has enhanced your ability to do those types of things. Is that correct?
We will be using one of the we will be one of the first museums in America that will be using artificial intelligence to
Really?
colorize
Oh,
some of our pictures, for example.
oh
And
yeah.
even before that happened, I was using Photoshop back 2019, before there was, you might say, the quick moving artificial intelligence that's come into us here 6 years later. Um, but historians may not like what we're doing by converting some of our black and white pictures into color. They like
Mhm.
history just to be pure, and it was black and white. But our minds, we don't visualize in black and white. We visualize in color. And as it
That's
was
true.
with that very famous picture of George Washington crossing the Delaware, that was done several hundred years ago, it was not in black and white. It was in color. And yet
Mm,
that color painting is acceptable history. So why shouldn't we use today's technology and tools to again make a place that's very memorable to our visitors that will be coming into our museum, to help us to further tell the stories we must tell?
mm.
Absolutely. I'm glad you mentioned Mr. Cecil. You said something. I'll bring it up. You mentioned AI, which I'm glad that you mentioned AI. And I'm going to tie this to one other thing. I'm going to tie to two things real quick. Right now in the movie business, a big thing is AI and taking people's face and their the way they speak and putting that into videos to use that people are using, which there does need to be a control on that. But I was thinking about with what you said with that artist who came to you, which I think is a process they should take, is that artist came to you and spoke with you and said, "Hey, may I license this photo that you have here and put it on my clothing design, my clothing label." And I think that that's the right way to go about doing that. I was just kind of wanted to get your thoughts on it right now, because I feel like that was the right process. And they came to you with like, "Hey, this is what we'll get from it." And I think that's the right way it should be done.
Yes, the way AI works, I think there needs to be some legislation to make sure that the creators of you might say, the places where AI gets its model and its training from, or its development, that again, that should be known. It should be identified. Where does that come from? It's just
Yes,
not
sir.
from thin air. In other words,
Hmm.
the AI model is such that it very rapidly, with all the technology that is available today, uh, uses models for what it creates. And you have to be very careful, of course, when you are giving the prompt, because as it is in the photography we do, we want the image to be just as it is that we took it. We don't want to try to change that.
Yes, sir.
But we are merely, you might say, colorizing it, colorizing the clothes they wear. But in order to do that, you must, of course, give the prompts that precisely state what you want. Otherwise, you will get something that might be of another origin that you don't want to introduce into a history-making photograph.
Yes, sir.
It's
Amen.
like
No,
this. It's a tool.
yes, sir.
It's merely a tool. Just like, again, with all other tools. For example, it can be misused as just like other tools. A hammer is a tool,
Yes,
but
sir.
it can be constructive or it can be deconstructive. So
Yes, sir.
AI is a tool, and
Yes, sir.
we need some, you might say, legislation that
Agreed.
guides us in the future, and some other controls to make sure that everyone is treated freely,
Amen. I definitely
fairly.
agree with you on that, sir. Mom, did you have a question?
Well, what I want to ask Mr. Cecil is if he could capture one more historic moment, what would it be?
I would like to be the one that is on the spot when we encounter maybe an alien from another world.
Mm.
I
Oh,
believe that by the way, God in His infinite wisdom created, of course, all that we are, but I don't believe that we, as a race of people, have, with all the other billions and millions of planets out there, we are exclusively alone. I believe that uh,
oh,
that we could be a very young civilization of people on this planet we call Earth, or we could be an old civilization. But I don't believe that we are alone in the universe. So I would like to be the one that has a camera when, say, we encounter maybe an alien. It's a
Yes,
funny
sir.
thing. Since the advent of the smartphone, we used to have a lot of alien encounters where people would say they were
Oh,
visited by an alien. But
yes, sir.
since we now have the clarity and the sharpness of the cell phone, you haven't seen any of that lately.
None.
Nor remember Bigfoot? We don't
Yes,
have any
sir.
Bigfoot captures anymore because again,
Zero.
it's got to be a sharp and clear image. So, but in
oh,
reality, I believe that in our lifetime, that again, we will encounter. It could be that their presence is already here.
yes,
But
sir.
again, that would be, you might say, a history-making photograph, something that would be equivalent to just like when man first set foot on the moon
Yes, sir.
and many
Yes, sir.
other great explorations. And by the
Yes,
way,
sir.
while we are saying that, let me also say that when history comes along and it has to be corrected because of the introduction of new things that discount what is previously
That's
known,
right.
we ought to be living in a society that readily adapts those changes and go forth. Do
Yes,
you
sir.
know that back in the 1200s and 1300s and 1400s, they believed that the earth was flat?
Mhm.
Yes,
And
sir.
so when Christopher Columbus leaves in search of another world, so to speak, or to search for India, again, it was kind of mindset of the most advanced minds of all times that the earth was flat. And little to they realized that it was a round earth and a sphere that we were living on. So it
Okay.
is with South Carolina civil rights movement history. Um, Whenever you ask a child in school age or many college students who started the American civil rights movement, they will say the Reverend Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, and people from Montgomery, Alabama. And although he is the greatest symbol of the American civil rights movement, we here in South Carolina know that he was really one that came along later after many things happened
That,
here in South Carolina. For example, if you take the incident about Rosa Parks, which happens December 1st, 1954, in Eastover, South Carolina, 2 years before Rosa Parks did that, a lady from Eastover, South Carolina, did the same thing in South Carolina. It's
Yeah.
just that the press and media wasn't there to record it, and you don't see it in our history books. But nevertheless, it happened. So much of South Carolina's history, and these are the stories that we will begin to tell in our museum in Orangeburg.
Amazing.
Wonderful.
Absolutely.
So, Brandon, you ready for
Yeah, the lightning round.
the lightning round? Tell them a little bit about that. So,
First off, Mr. Cecil, you've been absolutely phenomenal, and we don't want to hold you for too much longer, but we're going to hit you with a lightning round of questions where it could be either one quick one, it could be like a one-off answer, or it could be however you want to do it. But I appreciate your time. Black and white or color photos?
Color.
One word describes the movement.
Interesting.
Your favorite camera ever owned?
Hasselblad.
Okay. Favorite HBCU memory?
Claflin University.
Best place in South Carolina to photograph?
The coastline.
Okay. One image that changed you personally?
A picture of again of a little boy drinking out of a white. I'm sorry. The picture of me drinking out of a white only water fountain.
Yes, sir. A civil rights leader who you love to have dinner with?
Well, I would have loved to have had, say, Martin Luther King to have a chat with and to eat dinner. Unfortunately, again, he was assassinated, as our brother Jesse Jackson, who recently died, again, was one of the great leaders. And of course, I had dinner with Jesse Jackson, and he was one of the persons that I photographed more than a dozen times. But those great leaders would have been so inspiring to really have a conversation with them one-on-one.
Yes, sir. This is one quick question to ask you. Did you ever by chance get Malcolm X when you were doing photography?
No. I heard about Malcolm X as a child growing up, but again, he was a little bit before I got really active, and he only came to South Carolina rarely.
Yes, sir. Okay. Thank you for that. I was curious. A young photographer you admire today?
Myself.
Young we like that.
well, no, I don't know any young photographers that have come to mind. Yes, so I could not answer that, without being biased.
Right.
Again.
Yes, sir. No worries. What's one message you have to the next generation, and that can be as long as you want it to be?
Don't give up. Keep on. The power and the capacity of one to effect change and impact change is within yourself.
Amen. I love that. A moment you wish you could have captured.
A moment when, I guess, may I think about that a minute? A moment that I would have wished to have captured. The Wright brothers taking flight from Kitty Hawk, North Carolina. Taking a picture of the airplane taking flight. Yes.
Well, that sounds good. Well, Mr. Cecil, my mom's going to say she's going to end it, but I just want to say thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate you. You've been absolutely delightful and funny. And I thank you for picking up my calling yesterday and then coming on the show today. And with that, I'm going to take it over to Mom.
Well, I want to say one thing. I am just, I guess, amazed with all your knowledge, with your strength, how you continue to go. And I want our young audience, which we have a huge young audience looking and listening, to just look at you, admire you, thank the Lord for you. But on behalf of the Buckle Up Podcast Universe, thank you for sharing your legacy, your courage, and your strength with us tonight. Your lens has preserved the soul of South Carolina, the strength of our people, and the history that shaped this nation. And we honor you, we appreciate you, we celebrate you. It is truly a beautiful day in the state of South Carolina because of storytellers and vision keepers like you. And we want to say again, thank you so much.
Absolutely.
It has been my great pleasure to be a part of your podcast here. And when we open our new museum in downtown Orangeburg, please do come and visit us.
Yes, sir. We absolutely will. And you're always welcome back on the show. And the one thing we do at the end, we give everyone a round of applause, Mr. Cecil. Thank you so much, Mr. Cecil. It's been a
Thank
Cecil.
you
It's
very
been a
much.
pleasure to meet you, sir. And then I will get this back to you. I'll have it back to you tomorrow.
Great. Thank you very much and have a good
Okay,
evening.
thank you.
You too, sir.
Oh,
Take care. Oops.
Thank you.
fascinating.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Yes, ma'am.
Bye.
Yes, ma'am. He was phenomenal. I accidentally hold on a second. Let me do one thing real quick.
Okay.
I clicked something here that I'm gonna close it down, but I gotta click to all right, hold on a second.
That was amazing.
Yes, ma'am. It really was.
And a strong mind.
Yes, ma'am. Let me close it down. Here we go. Leave. Let me do this. Still going.